All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Forging Brains podcast. Today we got a cool one for you. We got two special guests, and then me and Gavin are just going to bullshit for a little bit. But today we got two really cool guys in our trade, right? Two guys everybody knows. We got Jim Poor and John McNerney. So we got Flatland Forge and Yukon Forge with us. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
You bet. We're super happy to be here.
So John got a hold of me and Gavin, I think just yesterday. It just worked out that we were having a podcast soon, and that he was still at Jim's house, that they got some exciting news. And I'm going to go ahead and let them tell it. And then I got a couple questions for both of them after it, but I'm going to let you guys go ahead and break it.
You want to do it?
Okay. No, yeah, I don't mind doing it. I don't mind doing it. So I've been doing this for almost 35 years. And I'm bored to death with it. So, and I'm overworked, underpaid, and I thought maybe. So I read an article about Remington. I don't know. I'm getting off subject.
No,
I read
you're
an
good.
article about Remington. So Remington is so big that they can't sell to one entity because nobody can handle Remington. So they sold to 17 different entities. And so I'm reading this article about Remington, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's an idea for me. So I'm like, well, so what do I do? So everything is. People think that tools just manufacture themselves. They don't. I mean, they are a lot of work, no matter how you do it. And
even if they're getting made,
John and I had talked years ago. And he just called me out of the blue, and he goes, "Hey, I hear you're retiring." He's like, "I want the driving hammers," and I'm like, "Well, I ain't retiring yet, dude. I mean, that's not true." but I guess that's the scuttlebutt. So okay, fine. That's fine. That's what people do, and I don't really care. But then it got me thinking. And I'm like, man, that would lift a little load off of me if John took over the driving hammers for me. That would, because there's a lot of grinding. There's a lot of it's time consuming. It's not just plug and play shit like people think it is. They're not made in China. They're made right here.
Texas.
Slow and methodical. And man, I got to thinking about it, and so I called John. I don't know how long ago. I called him back and I said, "Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that." And I said, "By the way, I got a few surprises for you. You might be interested in too." And so we visited and we made a deal. And Tyler, my son, changed the website just today. I mean, it's happening. It's happening. So I'm excited about it. I know John is. I mean, we've had a great 3 or 4 days. So
John at Yukon Forge is taking over the Flatland Forge driving hammers.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So we've got all the hammers. We've got inventory in stock. We set it up so there was a seamless. Right. So tomorrow you can buy the hammers. So we've got inventory. We've got a plan to keep them going just as much, but we actually have a plan to be able to upscale the production. I've got room in my business to be able to dedicate a lot of time to it, so I can, it'll put more energy into it. Everybody's got a different stage where they're at in their career. And when you walk into something, you're like, I got all the energy in the world. I can change everything. I can make this reach the moon, right? Yeah. And then when you're at the end of it, you're just like, give me a day off.
It's hard to find the energy.
Right. I was like, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. That's just kind of how, like, there's seasons.
Yeah.
There's seasons to it, right? So the season that I'm at is like, let's go. Let's make this happen. Let's make it big. What can we do to just take off with this, right? And so that's where I'm at, and
Yeah.
I think it's set up just perfect for that.
Yeah, I think it's cool because I mean, I'm at a spot where I don't want any more work.
Yeah.
Don't call me. I don't want any more work. And John has tons of energy. And I want to go
Yeah.
play with my rifle or something, And so he's taking a big load off of me by getting some of and and keeping the legacy, I mean, that stuff's been around for a while, guys.
Why did
Yeah.
you choose John to take over the hammers?
Well, I don't know. I've known John for over 20 years, and I know he's an honest workaholic. So what else do you want? I mean,
Yeah.
No, I think it is good because John was kind of, especially, it's not like this is all of a sudden getting dumped on John. Like, he's been doing some, like, tool making now for a little bit, and I think he understands.
Yeah.
He understands what the production actually takes to get it done. It's not like he's doing this without any idea. And he's probably worked through some of the little, like, hiccups where, like, you're probably ready to take this on and really make a nice product. Because I know me and Jim have talked about it before, and Jim's saying, like, no, I'm not selling anything. I'm just going to let it die with me because I don't want anybody to, like, fuck up my name. Where I think John's a perfect person to do it. Also, I love, Jim, that you have made now 2 decisions in your business off of a gun article that you've read. Like with the investment casting, and then with this, you're just like, yeah, I'll just do
Exactly,
what they
Will.
do.
well, that's just it. I mean, I don't even know if I told John this story or not about how I started the driving hammers or investment cat, and I don't even know. Did you know this story?
No, you never told me.
Holy cow! So we'll tell everybody at once. And I told Riley, and so back in the old days, I got to give a little jab because people are so lucky today to get information like that. Google it. You get information. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, that shit didn't happen back then. And so I got a Blade magazine and Guns and Ammo in the mail. And my horseshoeing, I got 3 horseshoeing, and I swear to God, I would get those magazines out of the mailbox and the truck never moved. I would sit there and look and read the little articles about learning something. And so the one about the investment castings was got my Guns and Ammo, and they were doing an article on Ruger. Everybody knows Ruger rifles. They've been around forever. Ruger was a genius. He simplified manufacturing of rifles, and he sold them to the millions, maybe billions. I don't know. I mean, a gun guy. You'll be hard to find a gun guy that doesn't have a Ruger in his collection somewhere.
Right.
I mean, they're everywhere. And he made them affordable. And anyways, I'm reading this article, and it's like a 3-page article about Ruger has bought a casting company, and he is casting some of the parts for the rifles. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Castings are shit. I mean, that's how I grew up. That's what I thought, right? And I'm like, they can make gun parts with castings? And so I read the whole article, and I come home and I got my Thomas registries out. Look that shit up, what a Thomas registry is.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a freaking encyclopedia with companies in it, and you dug through there and you found, oh shit, investment casting right here. And so then you found, oh hell, there's one 200 miles, because I live in Texas. There's one 200 miles from me. And And off I went, and failed. Oh my God, I failed miserably. I failed with steel. I failed with heat treating. I mean, I failed miserably, but I just kept at it.
Yeah.
And
That's what they
finally,
say
I
it takes
mean,
to succeed
I
is to
mean,
fail over and over.
this bastard, he gets 35 years of failure to where
Yeah.
now it
Right.
works.
Right. Then I think that's the answer to the question. There is so much time and effort that is put, like blood, sweat, tears, passion. I like it has turned into a legacy of Jim Poorhammer. You can't, can you go into a fair supply store in the United States, I would even say Canada, and not find a Jim Poor tool, a Jim Poor driving hammer?
Yeah.
Right? It is a staple of the industry, and it should not go by the wayside. It should.
Absolutely not.
In fact, I think it could. There's way more life that you can put into it, and that's that's the idea. I think that's why I really wanted it, and why it was important for me to jump in on this.
Yeah, and that's me too. I mean, that's why it wasn't advertised. It wasn't for sale. We just talked about it, and
Yeah,
okay, let's do that.
right. I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, it was
And
a good
I
idea.
tried to
I
talk
liked
him
it.
into
It was
it.
a good idea. It was a good idea.
So
So we
is it
helped
gonna
each other with the
keep
idea.
the Flatland name, or is it gonna be under the Yukon name?
So it's going to change to the Yukon, but it is the Flatland Forge hammer, and we're going to call it, like, it'll be Yukon Forge hammer, but it'll be the Flatland style or the Jim Poor style hammer. And but it so everything is going to stay the same except for the stamp. So we'll
Okay.
end up changing. We'll put the bear paw on it, and then we'll engrave the handle as Yukon Forge. Yeah, that will change, but it'll still be the Jim Poor style hammer, like all of them.
Yeah, and so it's a little slow changeover because I obviously had inventory, right, with the big
Mhm.
old shield and the P on them. So I mean, John's going to go through the inventory, and once that inventory is gone, it will be nothing but the bear paw
Yeah,
on the newer ones. But until that time that he runs, of course, he's got to do some stuff. But anyway, we will run out. John will run out the inventory that I had on hand.
Okay.
And then it's going to be still will be the shield and the P on one side, and then John's going to put the bear paw on the other side.
yeah.
Laser,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So we're going to laser on the other side. So it'll be like a collaboration hammer.
I
So
was
it's
about
going
to
to have
ask.
the Jim Poor on one side, and then when you flip it over, it'll have the bear paw. So we want to there'll be the hammers that we have in stock right now. They're all going to get that, and it'll be kind of like this was the moment that it changed over, and this is Jim and John's deal. But when those hammers are done, we're changing the die, so it just has the bear paw. But for a limited time, we'll have the double hammer. So,
Nice.
which I think is cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
So get one while you can.
Right.
No, I think it's great. And you had mentioned maybe some extras in there. So are we gonna see any old things come back? Maybe some different styles.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, we
Yeah. We've had a lot of fun with that because I mean I've had a lot of ideas over the years.
right.
Some good, some bad. I can't.
Playtime.
What is it?
You had playtime.
Playtime?
Playtime with experimenting with
Oh.
different styles and hammers.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so Kathleen's in the background putting up signs. Dumbass, don't do that. Well, my wife is every time I've ever done a clinic, my wife is standing in the crowd, and I can see her roll her eyes, and I'm like, okay, I just fucked up. Okay, so
Here, showing this.
yeah, okay, so we have. I mean, I dug through the archives before John come. I found shit I didn't even know I didn't even remember I did. So we got some really cool stuff. I mean, he did. I know. I'm gonna go shoot my 22, but he has some really cool stuff. Oh, so this is one of those stories I kind of want to get out, and you can't hold me to years because I freaking don't remember. I'm gonna say 20 years ago. Okay. Edward Martin's daughter got in touch with, what did you say the name of the place was? I'm going to say the name of the place. I don't give a shit.
Well, Wingate
Ferry Supply in Arizona.
Okay.
I can't remember the guy's name. She remembers half of it, so I'm not going to say it. But it doesn't matter. So, but I want to get this little story out there. So, Edward contacted me. I was on team, so I was in Scotland, and Edward asked me to make a Scottish style. We always called him. We simpletons here in America called them Edward Martin hammers. But Edward never said that. Never. He said Scottish style hammer. And he gave it to me. I still have the original, by the way,
That's
that
cool.
he gave me. And then, so it talked about, I made the original ones. We took them to convention. Like I said, I don't know what year. Don Gustafsson probably remembers the exact year. He's a good mind, and he bought some of them that were the handmade hammers, copies that I made for the convention. And then we came home, and Wingate Ferry Supply is going to distribute them. I'm just going to make them. So I came home, I got a mold made, and Edward and I was going to say text, but we wrote letters back and forth. this is like, yeah, I know, this is like dinosaur days. So we wrote letters back and forth, and I still have my letters too in there. His handwriting is freaking beautiful. I mean, it's huge, it's beautiful, it's just so much fun to read about what logo we were going to put on. So we put a thistle, a Scottish thistle. There's quite a few guys out there that's got one of these things, and most of them have put them up now. And, all those guys are 20 plus years ago. So, how many of them still shoeing horses? I don't know. There are some, I know. But anyways, there are these hammers out there. And um, things went bad. Things, I mean, that's business, right? That's why you don't have freaking partners, because things went bad. Uh, not Edward. Not Edward. That Edward was always the salt of life, did exactly what he said. I just don't think that he knew what was going on behind the scenes. And so one day I decided I quit. I'm not going to do this anymore. And so I quit. And I took the die and I put it on the shelf, and it sat there for 20 plus years.
Wow.
So John and I drug it out today, made a few hammers. So yesterday, I'm telling a lie. So it was yesterday.
Yeah.
We drugged it out, and it's just cool. And I'm going to call it a Scottish style driving hammer because that's what Edward told me it was. But like I said, we Americans, we just called it Edward Martin because that's where it came from. So, anyways, so John is going to work on that and get it back in production.
Yep.
And that'll be fun because it's a fun hammer. It's different than mine. Claws are different, but different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, I always said people always want to know what a hammer weighs exactly. And I'm like, what the hell difference it makes? Does it feel good?
Yeah.
I mean, I never was concerned about that, about actual weight. Because, if you move steel here or you move it over here, it doesn't feel the same. Some of them feel heavier, some of them feel lighter. So, and I'm not sure, I've made hammers that I'm like, boy, this sucks. I mean, it doesn't feel good. And then I'll hand it to the next guy and he goes, oh, I love the weight in this thing. And so there is no brilliant thing out there about perfect hammer. It's what feels good to you and to us, the customer.
Right.
Personal
So
preference.
that's what we're concerned about is the customer.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's probably one thing I want everyone to know. Like the warranty's still the same. We're going to take care of the horseshoer. So everything that Jim and Kathleen did, it's super important that we continue that. So it's going to be the exact. I mean, I'll bust my butt to make sure that the same quality, the same service is given to the industry. So that's big time important.
Man,
Hell yeah.
that's awesome. And that when I prodded at hoping that something old was going to be coming out, I was hoping you were going to show me that, because I remember I remember seeing those dies, and I don't want to be rude, Jim, but it was definitely longer than 20 years ago when you made those. Because I've been shoeing horses for 15 years now.
I don't remember.
But
sorry, Ryan. But the plan is
like there used to not be, if I'm correct, like when Edward made those hammers, he didn't put that logo on there. And so whenever I see a guy have one of those hammers and it has the thistle on it, and they're like, yeah, it's a handmade hammer from Edward, I just let them believe it. But I always know, I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not. And Edward never made those hammers, by the way. He never produced those hammers.
Yeah.
This was just something I never met his daughter, so I don't know any history behind that. I don't know anything, but that was just something that an idea, and it is a little different. It's a little different than anything else on the market. It's a little different. I mean, if you're one of the artistic guys, I mean, you like the big circle and the curve, and I mean, Riley, you're one of the artistic guys. You see all that shit. I don't see any of that stuff. I mean, I get the idea. I get the idea of it, and yeah, there's a lot of bad information out there on this particular hammer that's not true. And so Edward is passed now. I kind of feel like I can open my mouth and I know the truth.
Yeah.
I was there. So I made all the original ones. They were all in fact, Todd Walker. So how long has it been? Oh, we should call Todd. He would know how long ago it was, because Todd sawed them out on a bandsaw for me.
Wearing a hole in his head.
That's 90.
Yeah,
That's
Todd Walker.
That's 2001, 2002.
So now
I remember coming.
we're getting some age now, because I remember.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Walker, that's how I made them all back in them days. And Todd Walker sawed for 9 hours a day. He'd take his hat, he'd turn around backwards, he'd lean up against that saw, and Todd would just saw and saw and saw hammers all day long. And I would go by and just feel sorry for him, especially for what I'm paying him. I would feel sorry for him for what I'm paying him. And I'm like, Todd, you want to go do something else for a little while? He goes, no, sir, I'm good. I'll be here. He wore a hole in his head right there from leaning on the saw. we didn't have these soft shit back in that day. It was just a plain old plastic band. Todd wore a hole in his head. The next morning I go, how'd you get that hole in your head?
That's brutal.
Yeah, no,
Cutting out damn
it's awful. I mean, if we would have had a union, he would have sued my ass. I don't know.
Yeah, but that was 2001, 2002.
Yeah, we don't have Flatland Forge does not have union labor, by the way.
Well, that might have been 98, 99.
No, it
You don't think
would have
so?
been 2000.
All right, yeah.
It wouldn't have been 99.
Well, I think the first time I met Todd started working with you in 99, didn't he?
I stole him pretty early on. I'm a smart guy.
Yeah, right.
He was working for my buddy Kirk Cottle.
Oh, that's right.
And he told me about this kid he hired. And we went to a clinic down in Houston. And I watched him shoe a horse and watched him forge a little bit. And I go, so I hear you working for Kirk. And he goes, yeah, yep. And I said, what's he pay you? He told me, and I go, I'll double that. Come to Midland. I'll give you a place to stay.
That's awesome.
And then the next day, Kirk, he's like, when you want me to start? And I go, tomorrow. and Kirk called me. He goes, you stole my apprentice. I go, damn right I did, buddy. He's a cool kid. I like him.
And you tortured him.
He tortured himself a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd was a good egg. I love Todd to death. Still to this day, he has been Mr. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
His whole, I mean, when he lived upstairs in the shop, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Kathleen would go to the grocery store and she would go get Todd and say, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. What do you want? And he goes, peanut butter. And she goes, I got you peanut butter. He's like, yeah, just peanut butter. That's all I need. He ate peanut butter for 2 or 3 years. I don't know how long he was with us, but he ate peanut butter. Nothing but peanut butter.
Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah, and he did fill. I mean, I had a big pit out there. I made him his own forging spot, you know, to where he could make horseshoes. And it wasn't cheap to keep the boy in steel. I mean, he could go through some steel and propane and coal. But that's all right. I didn't mind that because he worked his ass off all day long. I didn't give a shit. I mean, I'll pour the coal in there, I'll put the propane in there, and I'll buy another truckload of steel. I don't care. But
He used to tell me stories and how you tortured him.
well, probably. I don't know the torture story.
Oh yeah. So we were talking about tongs, right? Making tongs. And he goes, you know, I don't like tongs. I'm like, why? And he's like, well, he said, Jim had this jig on the lathe where you take your tong and you put it on the lathe and you had to polish it that way.
Grind it around.
Yeah.
They would drop forge the tongs there in the shop. And so those rings were ugly. I mean, they were rough. But I bought this old lathe and I got a pipe grinder. You guys know what a pipe grinder is?
Yeah.
Okay, got a pipe grinder. So I made a little jig to put in the chuck, and then you run it up there. And of course, they're not straight because they're forgings, and you're like this, and then you put your pipe grinder and go and grind them up. And I thought it was a good deal. I mean,
yeah, because he told me. So Todd said he would have a pile. He had piles of these tong rings, and Jim would come up to him and it's like, hey, I'm going to go do a clinic. I'll be back in 3 days. Want all of them ground. So Todd sits on that damn lathe the entire time. He said he was covered in gore from head to toe.
That's probably true.
Yeah, and
that's probably a true story.
But I got him done. And I'm like, okay, I understand why you don't like tongs.
Yeah.
Todd was a good egg. Every time I'd go to a clinic, because he was there 7 days a week. Did I mention that? I worked him 7 days a week. But he can make shoes at night, and I paid for the steel. So that's a good trade.
Perfect apprentice.
Yeah. That is a good one.
he was a perfect apprentice, by the way. He was a perfect apprentice. But I would always give him a job, before I left for the weekend to go to a clinic somewhere. I give him a job. I go, you got to go this, and this.
Yeah.
I want this done. He never failed. It was always done when I got home. Always. So anyway, we brag on Todd Walker a little bit.
Heck yeah.
Well, I could do that for hours.
Just right. Just right.
No, I think this is great. I think it's a good move for both of you guys. I'm happy to see it. And, man, I think it's pretty cool that you guys got to tell a little story about it on the podcast so everybody can know the whole entire deal. I think this is great.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see where it goes.
So we got he got one more, but we're gonna keep quiet for a while.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we'll bring it up. Let's finish. You want to finish this one?
Okay, we're gonna do that first.
So this guy here will come out at the convention.
Yeah.
So it'll be available. It'll be first available to the public at the convention
with 22-year-old handles.
Yeah. There's a start.
The handles are already proven.
So today I went around. I think I drove all through Texas. At least an eighth of it. An eighth of it. Yeah, I know.
You drove that much.
I drove all day. So
what? That ain't nothing.
So Spradley calls me up and said, "Hey! I hear you got in the handle. I've got handles. You're doing the handle. So come get my handles. I think I got a couple hundred handles or 500.
900, he said.
Oh, 900.
900. He said in the beginning.
Yeah, I said, okay. So I went down to the casting place. You want to see the dies and talk to the people. Super salted the earth people. Really good deal. And then I went over to his place to check out the handles. So I said, they're in the attic. I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, what attic? And well, it's his forging attic, his blacksmith shop attic. And I get up there, and his wife is out there, and she's like, "Yeah, they're up the ladder here, and they're in these boxes." And it turned out he had like over 1,700 handles, and
holy smokes,
300 handle boxes at a time. And she goes, "Hand me the box." And it's like a second story, and I'll take it. I'm like, I looked at her, and I'm like, no, ma'am. No, I got this. No worries. So we dug out all the handles. So we're good on handles for a while. So we'll have replacement handles. You need a replacement handle?
Yeah.
Got covered.
But the cool part is they're 20 plus years old.
They're seasoned.
And
they're aged.
And if they're bowed when he takes it out, you throw it away. And get one of the straight ones, and that son of a bitch is liable to last forever.
Yeah.
Because it's been laid up there for 20 plus years.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't think of that.
So yeah, I mean they're good handles. Right. I mean, if they've lasted this long through heat and wet and thin in a shop,
yeah,
they're packaged. They're brand new. Like I went up with them, but they're like spanking brand new.
Yeah.
They look like they just came from the factory.
Well, we'll see when you get into them. Huh?
Yeah. It's a gamble.
So, John, where will people be able to find the hammers at now? Where will they be able to go?
So obviously we made the deal. We just transferred everything. The Gym 4 hammers aren't disappearing from the shelf. Right, so you can still get them at all the local fair supply stores, Wellshot, Oil Acres, Stock Offs, all the places that you normally get them. You can get the new hammers with both the bear paw and the Gym 4. Those are going to come up on the website. And in fact, if you buy any hammers from me at this point forward, it's going to have both the Gym 4 shield, the Pour Shield, and the bear paw on the back of it from here until I run out of inventory. And then so yeah, website is the best place for that. But they're still on the shelf now, and as people call and make orders, that's what will be shipped out is the double stamped hammers.
And that's yukonforge.com.
Yeah,
yep.
And even if you Tyler got our website hooked up this morning, so if you go to our website and look at driving hammers, you click on one, it directs you directly to his website.
Yep.
And
Perfect.
so there shouldn't be. I mean, we thought of. Well, we haven't thought of everything, but we have tried. We have tried to think of everything that can go wrong.
Yeah.
And put a stop to it. And so that's why we're lucky to have you guys. I mean,
seamless transfer.
Yeah. We both want it to be a seamless work it out. We don't want that to turn out some of the things that's gone in the past, which I'm a history buff, and when things go bad, I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
And so I think John and I have tried our best to figure out everything that can go wrong.
Yeah.
And put a stop to it ahead of time.
And we're resourceful, so if there's something that comes up, we'll put our heads together and we'll make it happen. And what's important, I think, is that the customers that have been with Jim Poor forever, that have had their whole careers with his driving hammers, that the warranty's same, the hammers are going to be the same. It's super important that this legacy continues, and I am unbelievably proud to be able to try to take that mantle and run with it.
Good job, John.
The process of the hammers are still going to be made the same way then.
Yes, so they will be made exactly the same way. They've been made out of A2 steel. They come from the casting. They'll be heat treated exactly the same way. They'll be tempered the same way. The handles, everything, the grind, they will be the same thing. The only thing that will be different will be the stamp.
The logo, yeah, very cool. Well, I can speak from personal experience. Since I've been shoeing horses, I've had a Jim Poor driving hammer, and it's still got the same original hammer for 12 years. So it's dialed.
Yeah, that's cool. But there are. I was telling John, there are the horseshoers that can wreck an animal with a rubber hammer.
Yeah.
What are you laughing about, Riley? Why do you laugh? I mean,
because he knows.
There are the few that can drive a punch into the animal and say, "No, I did not drive it into the animal," and then you can sharpen it for them and watch them make another shoe, and they do the same thing. And I go, "You just drove it into the animal." They're like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "You no-feeling son of a bitch! You feel it when you hit the anvil."
That's right.
I mean, I'm sorry, but there are. I mean, if you don't know why you keep breaking the end of your punch, you're a fucking idiot.
There's a reason.
Can't fix stupid.
If I make a horseshoe tool, it's going to be an S7 rounding hammer. Like, here we go. It's going to break everything else.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it just. I don't know. Sometimes I get.
A little excited.
My wife is on the other side of the table going,
Pump the brakes.
No, keep going.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Well,
it's so true.
Anyways, I really want to thank you guys. You guys are great. Kathleen and I love watching the podcast. We have watched every podcast.
They're awesome.
But we don't watch it on this little bitty screen. We put it on the big screen in the living room. And that's what's fun about it. I mean, it's a television show to us. I mean, it's interesting. It's fun. And what I like about it, compared to other podcasts that I've been part of, is you can see their faces. So you can see the expressions, you can see what they mean, or when they're telling the story of their life. I really, really enjoy that part. I want to see the man's. I want to see his face. I want to see his expressions, and you laugh along with him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, you laugh along with him because it's funny. It's his life. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a real conversation. Just,
It is. It's like a real conversation.
it's where technology is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and we can talk like we would at when we get together. Like when we get to a competition or a clinic or whatever, we like this is kind of like how we talk. We like we're I don't know. You guys said it before. It's a community, and it is, and like you get an opportunity to get around other horseshoers.
Like-minded people. Like-minded.
Yes, like-minded people
Like-minded
that go through the same trials that you're going through, and you can debrief. You can talk about that client, or you can talk about the shoe you're working on, or you could talk about your forging technique or whatever. And there's a time when you come together when you do that. So this is what's cool about this is because that's how people are talking.
Yeah, that's what we like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you're like, I always tell people, when I'd go to my first meetings and stuff with the TPFA, I was that quiet kid in the back. My wife does not believe me that I was ever the quiet kid in the back. But I promise you, I didn't know shit from Shinola, and I kept my freaking mouth shut, and I sat in the back of the room, and I tried to pay attention to those who did know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And then I sorted that shit out later. But I mean, I love people coming to learn. And I think that's why I like going to the WCB stuff. I just love it because you have all levels, and you have guys who are up here helping these people that are down here.
Oh yeah,
and I I started that striking stuff with Texas 2-man a long time ago, and because I'm just redneck enough to think to make a horseshoe by yourself is barbaric. I mean, I believe that. I mean, I've always had a helper on the truck. I never folded a shoe for a horse by myself on the truck. That's barbaric. I mean, I had a helper, and it takes 2 seconds to grab a sledgehammer and run the fuller through and throw that shoe back in there, throw the other shoe out, full of that shoe. And then they go back to finishing feet. I mean, I'm not a slave driver, but I'm kind of an asshole. So, but you can go back to finishing feet now because we got the shoes forward.
Yeah. I love 2-man. Anything 2-man's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
No, it's a great group. Like the whole WCB group's great, and that's what I like. That's what this whole podcast is about just getting our community, somewhere to keep connected. And that's what I think is great about your guys' deal right here. Is this is all pretty much in the family. Like it's all it's not going anywhere. This is excellent.
Yep. Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Nope, it's not going anywhere.
It's good stuff.
This
I
would be
love
good.
it. Well, we'll let you guys get back to dinner because we kind of interrupted the middle of it. But
no shit, I'm hungry.
It's all right. So,
we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
No,
Thanks,
thank you guys very, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. Have a great night. Thank you.
You too.